Over the past 3 years, I've tested strategies in budgeting and ways to manage my money. Learning how to manage money and being in control of your money is the best life tip that I can ever give anyone out there, considering if you're very young, old, whatever age you are. And so, knowing how to operate, it doesn't matter how much money you make, it's very important life skill for you to keep growing, like going down the road. So in today's video, I'll be showing you the tips and tricks that I use in order to manage my money. It's coming a little late, but 2024 hasn't ended yet, and so you could still jump on the bandwagon and get going with your finances. Over the last 5 years, I have tested strategies that I use to manage my money. Managing your money gives you a grasp in how you control your wealth. And so in today's video, I'll be giving you a breakdown on how I've done my budgeting for the year 2024, which if it benefits you, it could help you along the way in order to manage your money. It doesn't matter how much money you make, but if you don't know how to manage your money, it's a bit difficult for you to control your wealth.
Let's get down to this. So looking at this, you would see that I've created a spreadsheet or a Google sheet on Google, which I will outline the way that I do budgeting on a month-to-month basis. It may not necessarily be the same way. You don't have to do it the same way like me. You can start with this for the first month. I mean, this is coming a little late, but I believe it's never too late. It's better to do it. It's better, than never, or I should say. So I'll give you a breakdown of how I think the budgeting structure should look like for each month, and then you can kind of estimate every month from month to month how you do your investments or how you do your budgeting, because some months may be good while others are a little bit terrible with how much money you make. So today we'll be doing like an average of what you could make per month. Okay, not necessarily a certain amount, but I'll start with this. The day job, I have created a small section that says how much you earn from your day job, your side hustles, your freelancing, everything. And this spreadsheet basically is just a breakdown in a very typical manner. Anyways, let's get down to it. So your day job is the job that you work at. It may not necessarily be during the day. It could be at night as well, or whatever amounts of money you make on your day job, your stable job basically. So in this part, we could put maybe, let's say you earn $3,000 a month, which could be $1,500 bi-weekly. Okay. Now we move to the next step. Here, your side hustle. Your side hustle could be anything from like babysitting, car wash, or lawn mowing, snow removal. I mean, your side hustles could be all of those. So if you could do a math of how much you earn on the side as well, that could be fantastic. So here I could put maybe $300. Let's just say you earn $300 on your side hustle. Now, freelancing could be anything that has to do with your skills. Okay, if you're on Upwork, Fiverr, and all that platform where you share your skills for payments, I mean, of course, that's a fantastic way to go about it. So on here, freelancing, you could put maybe you're earning $250 on Fiverr, or perhaps you could earn anywhere from, because it depends, it fluctuates week to week. You can have customers on Fiverr, whereas you cannot have customers. So I would say, let's just say $400. You can earn $400 on that. So like I said, this is relative. Okay, however much amount of money you make, you could enter them in this, and I can put this link to the spreadsheet down in the description, so that you could start a budgeting thing for the month. I mean, so if you look below, you'd see I've spread them into categories. We have essentials, we have fun, we have your future, and that here on this section you would see that I've broken them down into goals. Now, shout out to Nisha on YouTube. I kind of like saw this. It was a pretty cool strategy that she used to explain how she separates and divides her payment, or how she budgets for the month. Now, if you go here, for example, you would see that on the essential sites, I've only listed things that are very essential, things that are a necessity for you in order for you to survive. So here I put that as the essentials, and that could constitute about 50% of your total net income. The total net income. So this $3,000 is maybe after taxes, the amount of money you earn after taxes. And so so 50% goes to the essential part of your budgeting. So I'll start with rent. Depending on the location where you are, if you're in New York, your rent will be much more higher than if you were in Toronto, in Waterloo, Canada, or Toronto, and so I mean New York and Toronto, they're becoming basically the same thing. So here would put maybe $700. Okay, if you live with a roommate, it's a little bit less for you to pay rent. I wouldn't bore you with all the numbers, but I'll just give you a few numbers just to make the math a little bit clear for you to understand. So here I'll put for utilities. This is a necessity. Okay, it's pretty cold in Canada, and you don't want to stay out there. Like, you need heat in your home, and so that could be, your gas bill, your hydro bill, and all that stuff. So here we could put maybe $200 because it's the winter and you turn on your heat pretty much every time. You need transportation as well. Transportation, like your gas bill, weekly or monthly. So on a monthly basis, your gas could cost you maybe $200, depending on what kind of car you drive. Phone bill, maybe $70. Insurance, I would say 150 if you're very young. Um, Groceries. Well, this is the part where it gets really tricky. Okay, for your groceries, if you eat out a lot, it's gonna be a lot less. But if you eat just a little bit out there, and then you rely on cooking, perhaps your grocery bills are gonna be very high, much higher than you would expect. So I'll put maybe $400 if you're a single person, not a family of four. Now, healthcare, depending on what country you are. In Canada, you don't need healthcare, so you don't pay for that because if you're employed and your company pays basically for your health, and the country is like free for health. But if you're in the States, perhaps you would have to like chip in some certain amount of money in order for you to maintain or keep your health booming and popping. So I'll just leave that blank for now because we're in Canada. So if you come here, you will notice that we're at 46%. So this total here, this total right here is right here, 1720. So out of that $3,000 that we earn, 1720 is the amount of money that you spend on your essentials. Now we're moving to the fun section. Now the fun drinks. If I wouldn't advise anyone out there to be a heavy drinker, especially if you're not making a lot more money. So let's say you for drinks you spend maybe $150 a month on your drinks. Okay, eating out, well, this constitutes going to restaurants and all that stuff, so I would probably put anything above $250. And now, mind you, you have to be at 30% when it comes to this fund section. Okay, your gym membership, donations, movies, gift, Netflix, Spotify, Amazon Prime, all of that stuff, we could just put $20 each of them and just pull that down. So $20, pull that down here. Okay, that brings us to $580. Now, clothing cannot be $20. So clothing, if you're a heavy shopper, I'll probably put per month, I'll probably put $250 in clothing. If you're a heavy shopper. Now, that brings you to 21%. So technically, you're still on budget. You're still doing good for the month. Your future you, okay? It's always essential. It's very important for you to have emergency fund. I can't preach this enough to anyone out there. Have your emergency funds going. If you don't have an emergency fund and you get fired from your job, it's a little bit tricky for you to thrive. You probably depend on people, and when you start borrowing money from people and not paying them back, or you start borrowing money from people to live, it's not a pretty healthy way to live. So here, it's a bit tricky how you put it. Now, here in emergencies fund, I could put anything. Uh, I don't know, maybe $200, or maybe, yeah, 200 a month. Now, here it's relative because depending on how much money that you require in order, because I would say save at least 6 months of your house rent plus 6 months of groceries as your emergencies fund. But if you don't have anything in here, if you don't have an emergency fund at all, you got to go higher. You got to go higher. Let's say anything, maybe $300 for the start, okay? And then going down the pipeline, if as the more liquid you get, the less the money for the emergencies fund. Now, if you have student loan or student debt that you have to pay the government because you're trying to avoid interest from that, you might as well put maybe something. I don't know if you let's just say you owe 20,000 and you decide to put $150 monthly towards the government. Okay, we're still on course with the budgeting. Pension and retirement. If your job doesn't offer or they don't match your pension, you could do something that that would help with that. Like open up an RSP or a TFSA, tax free savings account, first home buyer savings account, all those things that can help you in the future. But my recommendation would probably be RSP because it's basically retirement and it can help you on your taxes. I mean, TFSA does, but I haven't really deep searched into it. So RSP in Canada, if you're in Canada, RSP is it. In the States, a 401k, which will help you in your taxes. RSP, you could contribute $150 monthly on that. I mean, it's a bit high, but for your education, if you're still in school or you want to go to school, you aspire to go to school, you could put anything here from, I don't know, depending on how old you are. So this budgeting, it's for anyone out there. It could be for a young kid who just graduated high school and is going into college. If you're setting up and going into college and you incurring more debt, or maybe education could be you're trying to strengthen your skill or even write a exam like a CPA or something. You're just putting that money aside just for that. So anything from $100, and this could also help you down the road. So if you look here, right here, we at 18.92%. Still, we have like a little bit close to 20% of that. So house fund could be your long-term future, okay? But now, depending on how much you put in your retirement plan, you could put a higher amount in your house fund. But the thing is, when you put it in your retirement, it's not taxable, and so you get tax credit for that. But at the same time, if you want to buy a house, you can then use that retirement funds because there's a thing with the RSP where you could use the funds. You can borrow from the bank, not bank, from yourself, and then repay it slowly within a particular period of time. And so, depending on how much you put in here, your house fund should be maybe less than that or even more. But if you want to go aggressive, like I said, if you're young and you want to go slow, $200 is not something terrible that you could put in there. Now you will see that we've gone past our future. It's over 24%, which is not terrible. It's not terrible. So vacation fund. This is something that we all need. We need vacations in order to thrive, in order to have a mental sanity, in order to have a capability to come back to work feeling alive again. I mean, what is life without the vacation? What is life without fun? So this is basically that side of it. So I would say for the vacations fund, you could allocate a certain percentage, maybe $200 monthly. If you were trying or planning to go on a vacation that could cost you $1,200, you and your spouse or you and your significant other, you could put $200, towards that in every month. And so looking at it, you would see that we're here, we're 9%, 9.7% above the future you plan or your future plan. Okay. And if we do the math here, let's see, if we sum that up, you see we're $3,600.30. $3,630. That means what? We only have a little bit to hold in our pockets. That could be for your offerings in church, or it could be for a beggar on the street, a homeless guy. You only have 70 bucks left in your 3,700 that you earned here. So this is like a breakdown of what you could do when it comes to budgeting for the year. So this may not necessarily be, like I said, the same exact structure that you use, but I believe using this method, it's way and far more easy. You don't need to go on the calculator every single time that you're doing this. But if you have this sheet inside of your head, you have this sheet inside of your mind, it helps you for the monthly planning so that you don't go above budget. You don't go above budget and you start borrowing money from friends and family to survive. So ladies and gentlemen, that's my strategy that I use. I hope it helps anyone out there. Like I said, if you feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions about how, or maybe I can give you some tips and tricks that you could use for your budgeting scheme. That said, your boy Kenny is out.